I can see only part of your T-shirt, Ram. It says lockdown something. What's going on?
This lockdown survivor.
Lockdown.
Hi, hello, and welcome to Cinema Express. My name is Ram Venkat Srikar. Today we have with us filmmaker Nagesh Kukunoor to talk about his latest web series, Modern Love Hyderabad. Hello, sir.
Hi, Ram.
Hi. So you had described Modern Love Hyderabad as like you said that it gives a peek into the extraordinary city of Hyderabad, which is steeped in culture and history and the vibrancy of youth. Can you describe your relationship with the city?
It's the city I was born and raised in. And ironically, through a complete twist of fate, it's a city that I ended up coming back to a certain
Yeah.
extent, even though I left India back in '88, thinking that I probably would not return. So it's a very, very unique relationship. It's something that uh, when you're actually born and raised in a city, you don't give it much importance, right? It's
Right.
only when you grow older that you start actually uh, relating to all the different things that made it so unique in your head.
Right.
And hopefully it retains some of the same magic that you grew up with. Hyderabad has, certainly for me. So it's the same. And primarily because my parents still live in the same part of the city that I grew up in.
Right.
I get to go back
Narayanaguda,
in
right?
Narayanguda. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be more specific, Vithalwadi is the locality, but yeah, Narayanguda is the area. Yeah.
Okay. So, like you just said, coming back to Hyderabad, I can see it in multiple ways. You started with Hyderabad Blues, which again had a youngster coming back to Hyderabad and discovering his city and his romantic life. Now you're coming back with Modern Love Hyderabad after, say, 23 years, 24 years. Does it feel like life has come a full circle now?
It does to a certain extent. I think the much more fun part was to actually uh, uh, shoot these three different stories. I directed three of them in
Right,
this
three. Yeah.
anthology. In three different levels of society, if you will. One was shot in the slums. One was shot in uh, uh, the old city of the area around Charminar, and the other was shot in Gachibowli. So it was a wonderful opportunity to go to all these areas, some which I knew very well, and some which I really had no idea about, especially the whole Gachibowli, Kondapur, Madhapur, all of those places. So yeah, overall it was a fabulous experience.
So when you made Hyderabad Blues in 97, 98, you said that you were not really concerned about thoughts like who's going to watch this film, how am I going to distribute it. So you were just making a film for yourself. And you even described filmmaking as a wonderfully selfish, enjoyable, and personal experience. So I assume somebody like you must be benefiting a lot from the age of streaming because you don't have to worry about the fiscal side of it. Is that right?
100% right. Oh my God, 100% right. Given the fact that, like you just mentioned, I've never actively worried about audiences till the damn film comes up for release, right? Then you
Right.
start worrying about the audiences. You're like, oh, bloody hell, I hope someone comes and watches it. That pressure is gone. That pressure is totally gone. You put this out there. If someone watches it, great. If someone doesn't watch it, well, uh, a little disappointing always, because you're not making these things for just yourself. You're making it. The process is extremely selfish. That I'm not going back on. But
Right.
eventually, you'd like to find an audience. So yeah, the pressure's totally off. And if I had my way, I'd be just doing streaming stuff for the rest of my life.
Lovely. As someone who had to go to tribunal for his first film and whose first film released with 91 cuts, I'm sure this comes as a major privilege. So
Yeah.
although Hyderabad Blues had a romantic angle, apart from mode, we really haven't seen you delve into this genre, like romance. Like obviously, I'm not saying that Modern Love is actually about romance. Like there is even a line that says just because two people are in love, that doesn't mean they are soulmates. So why is that so, and what has taken you so long to plunge into this genre?
See, it's a genre I don't particularly like because it's a genre that happens 24/7 in
Hmm.
every language all the time, right? So there
Right.
is a complete overkill. So
Hmm.
the irony is when Elahe Hiptala, who produced this season,
Hmm.
when she asked me if I'd do it, I said no because I had no idea about Modern Love, the original Modern Love.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, and she said just watch the show,
Hmm.
and if you like it, then definitely we'll go ahead and move forward. Otherwise, and literally after watching the first episode, I was sold. I said okay
Hmm. What's
because
that episode? What's the episode?
the
Which episode?
doorman, the
Doorman.
doorman.
When the doorman is your main man. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Right.
my
Hmm.
God, what a honestly, in the entire season, that's my best episode. It's the first
Right.
episode and my best episode. It's just so
Hmm.
phenomenal. So
Hmm.
once that happened, then I was like, okay, so we're not talking just about the usual man woman, hetero kind of love.
Exactly.
and
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and then that excited me because
Right.
relationships are fun. Love in
Hmm.
relationships is definitely challenging, but
Hmm.
it's something I'd be up for. Not just as long as it doesn't follow into the narrow cliched genre of romantic films. So that's
Hmm.
why I said yes.
Right. So from the three segments that you're directing, one is called My Unlikely Pandemic Partner, and the other is Why Did She Leave Me There? And one is an uncanny relationship between two women. One is Nitya Menon and Revati, and the other is between a boy and her grandmother. So are these stories that you pitched and you wrote from the beginning? And why did you take a different route?
So the way the whole series is set up is, there's a whole bank of articles that Amazon, because they're
Right.
tied up with New York Times, they have it, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so we were given the whole bank, hundred
Hmm.
hundreds of articles. So
Wow.
we, me and the writing team and the producing team, we all read close to about 200 of these, out of which we
Wow.
shortlisted about 25 and then
Hmm.
selected six. So,
Okay.
and my idea for this whole thing was very simple.
Hmm.
Firstly, let's make sure that we have uh, different relationships. Let's
Exactly.
not just pick the same thing.
Hmm.
And then once we got that sorted, then we went after different genres,
Hmm.
subgenres, if you will.
Right.
Some extremely emotional, some light-hearted, some dramatic. So we were trying to mix it up, just so as that the audience gets a nice, good, good
Hmm.
sort of smorgasbord, a nice mix of different stories.
Okay. Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit about localization of these stories? Because these are columns written by Americans in American. Now, I know that love is a universal emotion, but can you tell us localizing writing for the local audience, setting it in a rooted Hyderabad milieu?
So that's a very good question. So the challenge right from the get-go was, okay, will these stories work for the audience? I just mentioned earlier that I don't particularly care about the audience when I'm making my stuff. This
Yeah,
was the one time I had to care because,
exactly.
uh, I'd sometimes pick an article and they'd say, no, the Telugu audience might not totally go for it. So then I'd back
Hmm.
off. So uh, we had a fairly large group making this initial thing.
Hmm.
So that's what we went with. Uh, for me,
Hmm.
the article had to speak to me at an emotional level. Okay,
Okay.
whatever that emotion was. And if
Hmm.
that was solid,
Hmm.
then I was going to move forward with it.
Hmm.
But having said that, we did road test it, saying that,
Okay.
okay, so uh, this was a very unique experience. You
Hmm.
yourself mentioned, right? I mean, these articles have been written by Americans.
Hmm.
Now, how do you take that and transplant that in Hyderabad? Well,
Exactly.
you try and pick aspects of the story. Obviously, you just can't change the story to do whatever the heck you want to,
Hmm.
because the original writer has to still sign off on this.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they
Okay.
still need to be okay with it because
Hmm.
what if you took their article and then completely just destroyed it and made some nonsense from it. So we had to keep all the important plot points, if you will, of the original article, but uh, the leeway was there to adapt it, to make it accessible to the audience you were. So that's where the creativity came in. What were the elements that you could bring in that make it accessible to the Telugu audience?
Like you yourself have said that you are not someone who likes the genre. And one, I was recently talking to a filmmaker who felt that our romantic comedies are the way Indian filmmakers treat romance. It's a bit exaggerated. It's a bit sugar coated. Like the conversations, the interactions, everything is a bit more pronounced, and everything is made. It's glorified. As someone who particularly doesn't like this genre, how did you approach this without making it, say, sugary?
See, because I don't particularly care for it, I was incapable of making it sugary.
Okay.
Because every time I watch something that is cheesy and sugary, I'm like, it's just so horrible, right? So those are not my instincts. So not only do I hopefully don't have cheesy lines when I'm actually writing my scenes, also when I'm on set, if some of the actors do that overdone, puppy dog looks and all that, I'm like, you're
Yeah.
we are completely in a different space here, so back off. So yeah. No, those are not my instincts. So there's no way
Okay.
I would end up doing something like that. And don't forget the horrific background score, angels singing
Yeah.
and all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
None
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
those things. None of those things. Yeah.
You really hate this genre, but anyway.
No, see, if the stories are well told, and everyone has their personal favorite. So yeah, if the stories are well told, I will. I will pay attention. But the problem is, like I said, if 9 out of 10 are love stories, how the heck? I mean, it's like overkill to another level. So that's the problem.
Lovely. Anyway, I'm looking forward to watch this. I think we all can use uh, a little sweet, feel good films at the moment. So thank you very much for the films and for the conversation. I had a lovely time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram.